if at any time you make a list of the worst things that are happening in the world, a world of 7.5 billion people, it's always going to sound dire, because those are the very worst things that are happening. And whether or not progress is it's irrelevant whether problems exist, because progress doesn't consist of magic, of a miracle, of utopia, of problems disappearing. It means that the problems of yesteryear were worse. And in every one of those cases, it's simply an example of a problem that we're facing now. But for many items in those lists, things were much worse 20 or 30 years ago. It's just that in many cases, people didn't care 20 or 30 years ago. Or that if you just indicate that some ill or harm is greater than zero, you haven't said anything about whether it's gone down, up, or stayed the same. So an example would be bullying. In fact, rates of bullying have come down. When you and I were kids, bullying wasn't considered a social problem. It was considered a part of boyhood. And the idea that the President of the United States would give a speech on the evils of bullying would have been ludicrous. It would have been subject to a satire. But our moral standards have risen, so we, I think, quite rightly believe that bullying is an evil that ought to be eliminated. But because our concern has risen, we mistakenly think that bullying has risen, whereas data on bullying show that it's gone down. Likewise for police shootings. I mean, we should absolutely reduce police shootings in the United States. But police shootings in the 60s and 70s were much worse. But no one makes the comparison.